Hello loves, and welcome to another reading vlog. This one I'm really excited about because I have wanted to read these two books since they were super popular and all over booktube last year. I ended up getting my hands on them after the spooky season and I decided to wait one more year until I would pick them up, and I also decided to get Dracula as well. So we have a vampiric reading vlog and I'm super excited about it. So if you don't know, Dracula by Bram Stoker was inspired by Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. This one ended up coming out like 20 years or something before Dracula, so everybody believes that this was the inspiration for it. And then many years later, very recently, A Dowry of Blood was written, and this is inspired by Dracula. So I thought it would be really fun to do a reading vlog where I read the three of these books to see the original, the infamous, and the recent inspiration and get my thoughts, my feelings, because I've never read Dracula before. So this is perfect, right? Bonus book! Yes, so I have my pre-order of House of Hunger and I just did the haul for it, so now I have it in my like, oh, I should read this, and I realized that it would be perfect for this vlog. So we may get another book, which now admittedly I'm not 100% sure what order I want to read them in. I know I want to read A Dowry of Blood last because this is technically the book that speared all of this on. I saw this, people mentioned this, I got both of them, and then later while looking for other sapphic vampiric novels, I was all like, wait, why don't I actually read what a lot of this stuff is in relation to or inspired by, or the famous story that everybody thinks of when they think of vampires, and that is Dracula. So here we are. I'm thinking that I'm either going to read the infamous first and then the original, or the original first and then the infamous. I don't know. I'm also doing my first reading sprints for my patron besties today. I'm super excited. I'm also super nervous, if I'm being honest with you. We have less than an hour before we start. I think it's gonna be a good time. I think doing the bestie live show is going to be a lot easier than doing ones on this channel because aside from today, I am dressed up for the intro for Dracula for this vampire vlog. But in general, I will probably be a little bit more relaxed and chill with the bestie live shows than I am on the channel live shows. So I think in the long run, it'll be a lot easier for me to do them and not be all up in my head, because I am all up in my head. But yeah, I'm super excited. I think I'm going to try and read these because this is my focus for this weekend, is to see if I can get through these three books. So hopefully that's what happens, and I'm gonna take you along for the ride. So I guess I'll give you an update when I figure out what I'm reading next. I think I have made my choice. I figured it would be nice to go through something pretty quick first, especially because I kind of want to do physically reading during the sprints, and so it will probably be nice to start off with this little novella of a story first, and then we'll have the chunker, the big boy, in the middle, and then we'll end with the longer novella. I don't know if this is just past the novella or if it's still considered a novella. Is a novella under 200 pages? I feel like this is a little bit more than 200, is it? Yeah, this is 230 something. So yeah, but you know, you see it. You got novella, chunker, and skinny boy. I don't know what is wrong with me. I am also filming another vlog right now and I'm all over the place. I'll give you an update later when we start the live show. I'm probably gonna give you a little sneak peek, a little like, hello. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people who show up, if anybody, because there's not a ton of besties, and I didn't plan this out super long in advance because I just wanted to test out and make sure that I can get it ready and get things going. Super. And then I think I'm gonna be able to plan these out and stick to them and not have it be a problem. I'm always super scared about doing that because I'm all like, something's gonna come up if I schedule the live show for a specific day, like it's gonna happen. It's like, yeah, that's true. Something's gonna come up and that's okay. You can change it. It's not that big of a deal. We're doing it. We are doing it. We are 2 minutes from the live show or the live sprints with the patrons, and I'm really excited. Anytime I do these, I'm going to try and make sure that I save it so that whoever the patrons or the besties or whatever, people who weren't able to make it, can watch it later. So, oh my God, I'm so nervous. It looks like we are live. Hello, besties. All right, so I'm doing a little intro for anybody who is watching this stream later after the fact. Doing the live stream. Currently we're in the middle of a reading Pomodoro. I was hoping that I would get further along, but of course, right in the beginning of it, my mom called. So most of it, I was just talking to my mom. Anyway, I have 8 minutes left. I'll see if I can get a little bit further. I'm so disappointed that I wasted all of this sprint not reading. Just because the first time in the middle of it something happened, so I had to step away. Now the second time something happened, so I wasn't able to read, and I'm all like, I just want to read the book. I'm 22 pages into it right now. I just got to a new chapter. Interesting things. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it either. Like when I started reading Juba or Ring Shout, like 2 chapters in, I was like, the writing, the everything, I'm in it, I'm feeling it, I'm gonna annotate it, it's gonna be a good time. I'm interested in the story and the history behind this. I think things are gonna be interesting. There are parts where I'm all like, oh, if I was annotating, I would annotate that. But I'm very unsure. Like this isn't writing that screams, I love it. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. But anyway, I've got 3 minutes. I think I'll try and read, I don't know, a page or 2. Can I read 2 pages in 3 minutes? We'll see. Hello, loves. So I ended up finishing the live show. I didn't get very far into Carmilla, which is kind of a bummer because I'm hoping to finish it today, start Dracula, do all of this stuff. But I'm just like not in the mood. I'm so tired. I'm tempted right now, like, should I get some coffee? It's already 2 o'clock, so it feels like it's too late to do that, but I'm not gonna do anything otherwise. Like, I have no energy, and I have books I want to do. I have videos I need to edit. I was gonna try and get most of the stuff done today in case the family wanted to do something tomorrow. Oh no. So I'm gonna get some coffee, maybe read some books, do some things, and I'll give you an update later. Oh, did I tell you how I'm thinking about this? I am not loving it, but I'm not hating it. I like the general idea. I don't necessarily, like, I'm not in love the way that I have been with some books recently, but I haven't even gotten to the meat of it. So I feel like there's a really good chance that things will turn around. I am enjoying the process in terms of, like, the story seems interesting. Weird things keep happening. I'm liking it, but not loving it. But yeah, I need coffee because I'm struggling. So let's do this. completed book 1, Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, and a little disappointed. I feel like I've heard a bunch of people talking about the fact that there is like a sapphic lesbian romance aspect to this, which no. And it had very dry Victorian writing, which in general I think can be nice. There is a nice element to that, but I don't know. I feel like the story and the way that it was told and everything was just kind of dry, not super exciting. There was some interesting aspects about the vampire that I thought interesting, and I don't have anything against the book itself. I do love this edition, but it was a bit of a letdown. I'm not sure if I'm at 2 stars or 3 stars. If it's 2 stars, it's not a low 2 stars. Like, I didn't dislike this per se. Part of me is just kind of all like, I don't feel like it's a 3-star worth either. Like, I felt about it more so than most 3 stars. Like, a lot of the 3 stars that I've been reading, at least recently, I've been like, yeah, I liked that, but like, I didn't really like it, you know, the same way a 4-star would be, and I didn't love it the way that a lot of 5 stars would be. So it feels like 2 stars is too low, but 3 stars is too high. Like, that's how I'm feeling right now. There's a horribly racist description, I guess, of black. Of course. Seriously? Okay, it is update time. So I am currently listening to Dracula by Bram Stoker, and I will say the rendition of the audiobook with Tavia Gilbert and JP Gumont, I'm enjoying that. Like, I'm enjoying their audio narration for the story, but I'm not enjoying the story. Like, I'm kind of bored. There's just a lot of empty things that we're going through, and like some of it is like legit and important and interesting, but like some of it I'm kind of just all like, okay, can we move on? Like, let's get to something interesting. So yeah, I also didn't realize that this was going to be told in a, you know, different perspectives or several different perspectives, which kind of threw me off a little bit. And then I did read, when I was like ready to kind of DNF this, I did read something that ends up talking about Renfield, the famous character that I have loved and adored in some of the more humorous movie renditions of Dracula. And then also the realization that Van Helsing is going to be the vampire hunter, which I've seen the movie Van Helsing. I'm aware of that name. I'm interested in seeing when we get to the, you know, like Van Helsing mob against the Dracula showdown, because, you know, that's something that the back hints at. And when I realized that that was something that's supposed to happen here, I was like, okay, maybe I should stick around and try and finish it, but I'm just not feeling it right now. That being said, I do see the similarities between Carmilla, the original, and Dracula, the infamous, because they are written similarly. There's a similar kind of Victorian dryness, which there is something kind of charming about that because it feels like an authentic Victorian story, but also it's dry, so it can be a little bit boring to read at times. It was okay here because this was so short, but because Dracula is so long and some of the parts feel kind of plotless and almost pointless, although they're not, I'm struggling a little bit. Now, I don't think either of these are awful, but I also don't necessarily think they're great, especially the fact that there was, you know, unnecessary racism in this. Gotta take into consideration the time, but there was like no point to it. It was just like randomly, oh, we're going to mention that there's an ugly woman. Not a fan, but also not necessarily mad at it, because if I read an old book, I have to be aware that that's going to be a thing. This one so far, I haven't run into any racism, but it's still early. And there's a lot of book left, but yeah, I'm struggling. I think I'm definitely going to take a break right now because I am not enjoying this. I think when I'm doing some other chore type task, I might pick this up and try and get further along into it, because I do really want to get to the part where basically like Van Helsing and the group or whatever is gonna come after Dracula, which we're not even close to, I don't think. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it. Basically, it feels like we have a decent amount of setup left to do before we get to the point where people are like, this Dracula guy may be a problem. Let's do something about it. So I'm excited to get to that point. I'm not excited the process that I'm gonna have to go through to get there, if that makes sense. The journey. I'm not excited for the journey, but I'm looking forward to, once I'm there at that part, seeing what happens. So that's my update. I will catch up with you later when I'm back to reading this. Okay, so even though I was talking about taking a break from this, I am basically digitizing my page tracker pages for my game. As you can see, this page got pretty messed up because I was using it as a coaster when I didn't have any while moving. Since the pen ink that I was using to track stuff wasn't bleeding, I kept using it as a coaster, but the print ink, because this is just on regular paper, it's not on fancy paper, couldn't handle it. Anyway, long story short, I am continuing with Dracula, and I'm getting to a point where I'm actually enjoying the back and forth. We have a couple of different characters that are introduced. We are learning the story in bits and pieces by just different accounts in a way that is starting to become interesting and enjoyable. So even though we haven't gotten to the part that I'm super excited about, I am enjoying the process again. I wonder, when people were reading this, like, I wonder what they knew about Dracula beforehand. Like, was this a mystery to them? I guess not, because it starts off kind of exposing Dracula before we get all of these hints. But maybe you still would have been like, ooh, what is this? Because were there like summaries of books the way there are now? I don't know. Okay, so I'm a good way through Dracula, and I am sort of enjoying it, but also not at the same time. It's a very interesting experience because there are elements that I do enjoy and some things that I find absolutely obnoxious. For instance, we do have some miscommunication tropes that are happening. In a lot of the cases, it's kind of a little understandable, and some of them not so much. I can see right now that there's a situation of somebody being kind of like left out of the know that is probably going to be detrimental at some point. We'll see if I'm right. I don't know. It may not matter. I mean, like, we're getting close to the end when like uproar starts happening, although perhaps that's going to be the catalyst. Who knows? I don't know. Really need to kind of finish this today. So I can start on A Dowry of Blood, finish that tomorrow before I go on to my work trip. We got a tight deadline and a lot still left. I mean, like, I've gone through a lot, but there still is a lot left. And I still have to edit videos and finish packing. Like, there's so much to do. Why? It's okay. I am really excited about this work trip because I'm also going to be doing a little bit of like book shopping. We'll see if that works out. If it does, we'll have a vlog in November for it. That's where I'm currently at. This is such a weird experience to me. There are ups and downs in terms of enjoyment. The story itself is pretty straightforward. There's nothing super gripping. I am interested. I feel like the parts that I enjoy the most of this book are coming across elements that I am familiar with, like the whole Renfield character. I wasn't expecting. I thought that was something that was made up separately. I also didn't realize the history of that character because in the movie adaptations that I've seen, he was kind of just different. I don't know. It's fascinating to me. And then the Van Helsing character as well, not quite what I was expecting. I feel like the Van Helsing movies make him a very different character, but I don't know. Now I'm like tempted to go back and rewatch all of those movies because like maybe they are exactly those things, but I watched them like 10 plus years ago and just am misremembering them or didn't catch those facts or details. So that could be something that would be fun for this vlog, but I don't think there's gonna be time to do it. That's so upsetting. That's it for my update. Okay, out of context quote, which is trained like man's brain, but is woman's brain. Okay, Brahm. I guess that's supposed to be a compliment. Oh man, but I mean, like, it's of its time. I'm pretty far into this at this point. We're getting close to the finale. Some things have happened. I don't know how to say this. I am enjoying this book. I am. I think I would enjoy it so much more if it was shorter. It just feels like it's taking forever to do the things because you're hearing the accounts of the same days from multiple different perspectives and like letters and things from different people. And so you'll just have an instance where it's all like, you know, like October 1st, this is what I did all day. And then the next person's like, October 1st, this is what I did all day. Admittedly, not too much of it overlaps. You know, you'll have moments where you're like, oh, this is his perspective for, you know, what happened here. And that is kind of nice, but it's just that time is going by really slow. Things aren't really happening. You are discovering things that are interesting and I am enjoying it for the most part. I'm also getting into the writing style a little bit more. And because we've reached the plot thread and we're following through, I am invested technically. But yeah, I would enjoy it so much more if it kind of got to the point a little bit quicker. Hi, hello, how are you? I just finished Dracula and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I will say, I will give you this, Bram Stoker. This gives me a lot of like inspiration and ideas, and it just makes me feel very creative after reading it. And I don't know if that is necessarily a compliment to this book, because I know some of that is me being all like, oh, there's some cool ideas in here. I don't love the execution. It would be cooler if ... And then we have all of these different ideas that I'm coming from or getting from it. And so that is my main critique with this, is I feel like it was very long. It was very slow. It felt like a slog in not an enjoyable way to get through all of the stuff to find the point. Like, there were elements that I did really enjoy, and there is something nice about having that kind of slow laid out. I guess if I was just like more into it, I probably would have loved that. But because, I don't know, there was like part of me that was just like, okay, can we get on with it? Like, can we get to whatever it is we're supposed to care about? And then even when we get there, like, I don't know, there were just like some things about it. I don't know. I wish I could tell you what really bothered me, because even the little like epilogue type thing, I was just all like, ugh. But it did, like, it really did make me go like, oh, I think it's kind of cool that they did that, and like, oh, it's inspiring, blah, 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 or like, that was kind of stupid, they should have done this. I see why there are so many spin-offs to it, like, I get it. But at this point, I have read 2 of the classics, the original and the infamous, and that leaves the remake. And so the next book I have is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and this was all the rage last year. And so I'm really excited to read this. It was so popular that I guess it just got picked up and is being republished with like a new cover design and everything. But I love this cover design. Like, I am so glad that I got this version, because the art on this is gorgeous. Like, I love it. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I desperately need a turnaround. I need a hit. I need something that just makes you go, yes. Because I have not been having a lot of luck so far. So I'm really hoping that A Dowry of Blood does it. and we have a good time. This one, as far as I am aware, is a sapphic vampire story of our main character, who is the original bride of Dracula. I could be wrong. And she ends up kind of falling for some of her rival consorts, so some of his other brides, after discovering some awful things about her husband. And she ends up writing this love letter basically to Dracula after murdering him to like explain why and talk about the toxic relationship and her fears and the fact that she felt that this is her only decision or something like that. I don't know. I've never read it, but those are the vibes that I get, and I'm really excited to see what it's all about. Like, I'm so excited. And I guess I should say that like neither of these are bad. I think both of these are like 3 stars.
I will render you as you really were, neither cast in pristine stained glass or unholy fire. Yes! To those who escaped a love like death, and to those still caught in its grasp, you are the heroes of this story. Okay, well, we are off to a great start. I am loving this so far. I am 9 pages in. Loving the writing, loving the cadence, loving the weird way that it's breaking everything up to make a point. Like, I love this. Like, it feels like she's writing a couple of drafts of this letter. I love it. Okay, hopefully this stays true. I was somebody's daughter once, a village girl with arms strong enough to help her father in the smithy and a mind quick enough to recall her mother's shopping list in the market. I am already finding so many lines that I want to highlight, like so many good quotes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think this is gonna be the last quote I can give before it starts becoming like spoilery, but I know I had a name before that moment. It was a sturdy name, warm and wholesome like a loaf of dark bread fresh out of the oven. But the girl I had been disappeared the instant you pronounced me yours. What? Okay.
Hello, hi, good morning. So it is day 2 of me reading A Dowry of Blood, and I am loving it so far. I'm only 43 pages into it, but the writing is beautiful. The pacing I'm enjoying so far. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I don't like the glossy cover, but I love the illustration. I think the illustration is gorgeous. Marlo Loon did an amazing job. Is this? So, Marlo Loon did an amazing job, and I am actually a patron of their artwork. I'm a huge fan of everything that they do, so I'm not surprised that I adore this cover art because I adore their art in general. Like, if I was to try and be an illustrator again, I would want to be more in this style. Like, everything about it makes me happy. Obviously, my own twist, yada yada yada, but like, I love their art. Highly recommend. They have this Mary Blackbird Postcard Society, which is their Patreon, and you get these gorgeous illustrated postcards every month. I love it so friggin' much. As you can see, there is some representation, which we love to see. But yeah, I'm a big fan of their art, but I don't like that this is gloss. And I'm tempted, like, I really want to highlight and annotate and write all up in this book, but I don't really think you can get this copy anymore. I hate the gloss. Like, it just looks so gross. But yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more physically, and then I'm probably gonna switch over to the audiobook, which I think is on Scribd, and I will finish it out that way. And then bonus book. Yes, so I realized while I was looking for haunted house books, because I'm going to be doing a haunted house vlog soon, that this is a vampire book. And I knew that when I pre-ordered it, so I ended up getting it recently. I just did the haul for it, so now I have it in my like, oh, I should read this. And I realized that it would be perfect for this vlog. So we may get another book, which since 2 out of the 3 original picks were kind of meh for me, and I'm only really enjoying 1 of the original 3 that I was supposed to read for this vlog. And hopefully if I pick this one up, I will enjoy this as well. It is another sapphic vampire story, but this one is written by a Black author, so there's supposed to be, as you could probably guess by the cover, some POC representation. So this will be the first book in this vlog that has normal / positive POC representation, because technically there was a Black character in this for like 2 seconds, but there was just racist remarks made about her. I don't know about this one. I know there's going to be more characters that we haven't been introduced yet, so maybe there'll be representation, probably not, but this one there should be. So I am excited to be reading these for the vlog, even though that wasn't the original plan. Forgive me. There are just like so many books that I'm trying to read. Okay, so I switched over to listening to the audiobook for A Dowry of Blood, and I am enjoying it a lot. I was a little bit nervous that like I was loving physical reading of it, that once I went to the audiobook I wouldn't be into it, but it's bomb. We're having a good time. I did have to step back so that I can edit some videos before work. I do have an early start to work today, so I don't have as much time to get stuff done, which is a bit of a bummer because tomorrow I'm going to be flying to Vegas for more work stuff. I am going to try and do some vlog stuff then, which I'm excited about, but I have to put this vlog on hold until we get back, which is a bit of a bummer. Okay, we have reached the end of A Dowry of Blood. I loved it. It's great. I'm giving it a very high 4 stars. I did get a little bit bored at some spots in like the middle, kind of waiting for certain things to happen. But I really enjoy a lot of the writing. I love a lot of the setup and some of the like flowery prose that we got. Just in general, this was such a good time. I am so glad I saved this for last. I was a little bit worried there, but came in clutched and saved the day. That being said, we do have one more read for the vlog, and yeah, I don't have a ton of time to read this before I go on my trip. Hopefully I can get a good chunk into it tonight, and then I'll be finishing it up when I get back. So I'll let you know a little bit more about what this is all about when I get into it. Hi, hello. So yeah, I just finished House of Hungers by Alexis Henderson, and I really liked it, okay? It's a story about somebody of horror means who is trying to step up in the world, and they find a position to become a blood maid, basically, for rich houses in the northern part of where they live. And so she applies, ends up getting it, and while she's there, she finds out that things aren't quite what they seem, and we're along with her for the journey. But it was and wasn't what I was expecting. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. 5 stars. Yes, so I feel like this was pretty pretty good. The last two books were definitely a success. This one is my favorite, and then A Dowry of Blood being my second favorite. I friggin' loved this book as well. It was absolutely fantastic. And then these were both kind of flops, Dracula and Carmilla. There are things about Dracula that I did like, but I didn't necessarily enjoy the execution. Carmilla was fine in terms of it being a short novel, but there was that just random racist remark that's included that whatever. But yeah, these and these, hell yeah. So that's my ratings. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you read any of these, let me know. If you're interested in reading them, let me know. Yeah, this was a fun one. I had a good time. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, thumbs up, is there a vampire? Leave a vampire emoji down in the comments section if you made it this far. And I will catch you in the next video. Until then, bye! I think that's good.